Hey, what's up nerds and nerdettes? My name is Swag and I make dumb videos on video games. With Warframe's The New War update right around the corner, I wanted to share my loadout with you guys. As mentioned in my previous video how to prepare for the new war, your loadout will be partially or fully locked during some of the update. So it makes sense to come up with at least a halfway decent loadout, not only in terms of damage, but also in terms of looks. If we have to believe Digital Extremes and some of the partnered creators who got a sneak peek at the update, then this new quest is probably one of the biggest and baddest updates Warframe has ever received. So it makes sense to get your fashion frame on point, take out your favorite Warframe and redo your loadout, just to have the little edge and make sure you can really focus on the quest at hand. I'll go over the choices made right quick and then we dive into the builds. Now, for any normal quests or cinematic scenes, I would obviously choose Loki. I'm a notorious Loki main and love his skill set, looks and playstyle switch. However, since I started playing actively again, I have played close to no other frame than Xaku. So, Xaku will be my main driver for this questline. Close runner-ups were obviously Loki, Gauss and Mac, but Xaku really does just feel more enjoyable right now. Weapon-wise, I'm running the Cedo, Cyanex and the Hate, because they are my favorite weapons to use right now. Coincidentally, they are also really strong, and since I can armor strip with Xaku, there's no reason for me to run a very specific setup against sentients. I did consider running something like the Paracesis or go with Excalibur Umbra and the Skiajati just for lore's sake. However, I'd much rather just have fun with the mission objectives and focus on the story aspect than force a loadout on myself. Right, now let's get into the nitty gritty and discuss the builds for Xaku, the Cedo, Cyanex and the Hate. In terms of Xaku, I went with a brief respite, balance between range and efficiency kind of build. This build focuses primarily on having a ton of range, moderate duration and still some efficiency left for easier casting. We need range and duration on both the Lost's Gaze, Armor Strip Zone, and of course for the Vast on Time. If you want to know more about this build, I'll leave a link in the description or you can click the card at the top right. I went over the specifics there and don't really want to waste your time by repeating a build. But for reference, here are all the mods. Brief Respite, Primed Continuity, Transient Fortitude, Overextended and Augur Reach, Rolling Guard, Primed Flow, Blind Rage and Intensify, and of course the Arcanes, Arcane Energize and Arcane Strike. Alternative possibilities, you can use the Lost Augment mod to gain power strength, meaning you can get rid of Blind Rage and possibly even Intensify. However, with the addition of a max ranked Arcane Energize, I'd much rather be able to cast Gaze in multiple successions without losing a buff. The other abilities of the Lost simply aren't that impactful in my opinion, and having multiple 30-ish meter radius zones of complete armor stripping goodness just feels better. Then again, this is a build suggestion or a showcase of my own build, so feel free to use whatever mods you deem useful. The Cedo build. Now this build isn't 100% finished yet, as I'm currently still fishing for a Riven to squeeze out the last bit of damage. However, it is extremely strong and when timed correctly, the alt fire alone can destroy sentients affected by Gaze, making it the main driver and damage dealer for easy kills. I'll put up the build for reference, but in essence it focuses on spreading viral and other base elementals as much as possible while still hitting ridiculously hard on its primary fire. The Cyanex build. Just like the Cedo build, I'm not 100% happy with my Cyanex yet. While it does hit like a truck on steroids, it's basically no fun to use if you're not running a frame like Gauss or Volt. The added Riven I have makes it a lot stronger but takes away some speed, so in all actuality it might not even be the best choice, but I love using the Cyanex, so that's why I chose it. Here's the build for it. It's nothing special, and if you're not using a Riven, I'd suggest using a fire rate mod of your choosing. Last but definitely not least is the Hate. The Hate has been a favorite of mine for a long time, and I frequently choose it over the Reaper Prime because of its accessibility. It's a scythe, it's a heavy hitter, and it commands authority no matter what faction you're up against. I'm using a fairly standard heavy build on this puppy, but yet again, I'm using a Riven simply because I have one. Should you not have a Hate Riven, don't worry about it, it's still gonna hit like a freight train. Now I could go around and explain myself why I chose these weapons or frame, break down the numbers and bore you with math, but I'd rather let a small little clip speak for itself. As a mention-worthy alternative, I have a Thermal Sunder-ish kind of build on Gauss for large AoE armor shred. ton of survivability and just genuine speedy boy fun times. Gauss is and will probably always be one of my favorites, but in this case, Xaku really did take the wheel. Thing is, even though the new war isn't directed at newer players, I am fairly sure that enemy levels won't cap out over level 100, meaning that any real loadout is already completely overkill for this quest. Does it then really matter what loadout you take? No, it doesn't. But it's fun to go over some fun and maybe out of the box loadouts just for the heck of it. You see, what I'm trying to do here is not only give you a heads up on a build that proves itself to be useful just for the new war, but also for many other scenarios where you just need to be decked out in order to survive. And also, you know, a little splash of fun. The recent developments when it comes to content around Warframe is so stringent in my opinion. It's either max damage or your opinion doesn't matter, or just memes for the sake of memes. I see less and less general use builds that are just made to make the gameplay fun, and just more and more niche builds that do exceptionally well for one part and embarrassingly bad for all the other parts. Now we got only 3 more days until the new war hits, ladies and gentlemen. Swag from the future here. It got too late yesterday, so I didn't upload it yesterday, so there's only 2 more days left for the new war. Just an FYI, so you can keep up with the current info. Also, please help me, I'm trapped in this reality. So let's make them count. Get your Railjacks built, power up your Necromax, and deck out your favorite Warframe for the stories to come. And don't forget to join our Discord if you're looking for people to play with or simply hang around. That's all I've got. Like the video if you did like it, hit the subscribe button if you despise Inaros mains, and I'll see you at the front lines. Stay safe out there, Tenno. Later.